everyone. This is Amy Rogan with the COMMcast, the podcast for the University of Findlay Communication Department. Today I'm joined by Heidi Paxson, a 2018 graduate of the University of Findlay and the morning anchor at WLIO in Lima. Welcome.
Hi, Amy. Nice to see you a few years later.
It's great to see you. Love it when they come back. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about your time here at UF and what your educational journey was like and how you chose your career and how you got there.
Yeah, so I had to think hard about this the other day about how I got into it. So when I was in high school, I actually worked at a recruiting office as an intern, and I was helping recruit for salespeople. And I had noticed that all of the people in sales that were making really good money, which I was a high schooler, so I didn't really know what passion about a job was, but I saw that they all had degrees in journalism. And so I wanted to do sales, and I thought that journalism would be a good fit. Funny enough, at the time I was doing the morning announcements, which I did throughout school and always had so much fun with it. And honestly, not much thought. I know a lot of people say they went to college and knew exactly what they wanted to do, but that was not the case. But I will say within the first week, I figured it out. I met Dr. Adams, and she saw something in me, and you saw something in me, and a couple other professors, and had me go down to the TV station and do UFTV, and started anchoring a few weeks into freshman year, and here we are. Haven't stopped since.
And you did a couple different internships?
I did. I worked at Habitat for Humanity, which didn't really seem like journalism at the time, but just being able to share the stories of local families who are benefiting from those nonprofits in the area was actually really impactful for me and helped me learn how to shape stories in a delicate and kind of elegant manner, and then learning how to do social through that as well was pretty big. So that's always my advice to younger people is if you have an opportunity, think about how it can benefit you rather than looking at all of the ways that it doesn't. Because that was kind of the basis of my video, social media, news writing journey, I guess. Yeah.
And I just remember like your senior year, it just really seemed to click for you and you got very proactive. Tell us what you did that senior year that helped you kind of launch your career.
So I would say senior year was when I stopped running. So I had a lot more time. I was helping you out with the newspaper, and I was at the TV station doing a little PRSSA, anchoring at the radio station. So really any experience I could get, I was taking advantage of. And I think it's easy in a small school to feel like there are no opportunities, but if you are eager and if you want it, it's there. And I always say, even if it's not there, you have the ability to make it. Like the opportunities I had, students before me created those opportunities for like throughout their passion for journalism. I know Jake Miller actually relaunched the TV station on campus. So it's people like that who open the doors for incoming students. So just remembering that you're a part of the journalism circle at the school, you're not, just a student. Like you can leave tracks for others.
That's a great way to put it. You can leave tracks for others.
Yeah.
But you also made some connections on your own, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I got a job in a top 50 market out of school on air every morning. And I actually got that through LinkedIn. There was a news director at the time. He was in Jefferson City, Missouri. I had no interest in going to Missouri. Didn't know what Jefferson City was, didn't know who he was, but I just was eager to connect with anybody I could. So I was just messaging news directors on LinkedIn. Well, a couple months down the road, my senior year, about September, October, I was looking for a job, and I get a call from him. He actually moved to Grand Rapids, Michigan, and got a news director position there. So that connection really opened the door for me into my broadcasting journey out of school, which, if I'm being honest, my fear was always not getting a job because it's kind of like acting. It seems like a scary world, but again, if you're eager and if you're passionate and if you genuinely want to meet those other people. And I think the key with that is being curious about their stories. I wanted to know about his path genuinely. I was just curious, and you learn a lot through those different connections.
Yeah. So you started in Kalamazoo, right?
I did, yeah.
So how long were you there?
I was there a little more than a year. And then after that, I went to DC. I got out of news for a little while and worked for a military medicine museum. Kind of similar to the Habitat role, doing social media and telling stories about, Department of Defense and some of the really cool Civil War stories and artifacts that we had and things like that. And then once I realized that I wanted to get back into news, and even if I had the coolest job in the world outside of news, it still just wasn't lighting the fire in me that I knew was there. As soon as I realized that, my old news director actually reached out to me and offered me the morning anchor position. So it feels like the stars aligned, but also I will say, like, when you're going through that process day by day, it seems like a day is a year. And it doesn't feel like things are just happening for you. But then you look back and you realize, as long as you kind of manifest and believe in yourself and know why you're doing what you're doing, I think good things will follow.
I think your story is great in how you were so proactive your senior year, how things really kind of clicked, I think, in your mind, and how you pursue your career, and then that you tried different things until you found, well, yep, this is really where I want to be. So I think you have a unique story there. What did you do in Kalamazoo? You were a digital reporter?
I was a digital reporter. Right now, digital reporter has kind of translated into just online, but the news director in Kalamazoo, he actually created the position for me, and at the time digital reporters weren't much of a thing, so I was actually reporting in the morning newscast every day, filling in anchoring on the weekends occasionally and on holidays and stuff like that. And then there was a few months where I was full-time reporting, filling in, so a lot of really good opportunities there to get comfortable on air, but I was warned about this and I didn't really listen, but I will say the small market experience is really important, because I did feel like I was thrown to the wolves, and there were hard days, and there were days where I felt like I wasn't doing the best that I was capable of, and I think that's because when you start in the bigger market, you're expected right out of the gate to know exactly what you're doing. You don't have that time to make little mistakes. And yeah, it's great I was in a bigger market, but that just magnified everything I was doing and meant so many more people were out there to critique me and email me, and good opportunities, because you learn a lot through that and you grow some thicker skin, but definitely it's tough.
Yeah, and journalism does require thick skin.
It does. It really does. If you don't love it, then it's not going to work for long. So
yeah. So you're morning anchor in Lima. You also report some too, do you?
I do.
Yeah.
So we're a little bit short-staffed right now. Subtle plug if anybody's looking for a reporter position. But yeah, we're a little bit short-staffed, so just trying to pick up stories where I can. It's hard because I'm producing and anchoring, which means editing my own video for the morning show and rewriting all the stories, so there's not a whole lot of time, but just not expecting that other people will get everything done, but like realizing you're a part of the team and that you are expected to pitch in if you can. I think that's important and like a really good trait for any employee to have.
How important would you say for upcoming students are those multimedia skills?
I mean, anything you can learn is going to benefit you. It's going to benefit your resume. When you're talking to an employer, they'll realize you know what you're talking about, and all it's going to do is give you opportunities to impress them. It's I mean, what's it going to hurt, There's really no negative other than, for me, it was lack of sleep. But but now I have things to look back on, and it's fun because you can look at something from freshman year, and at the time you think you're this, 40-year-old professional, but you watch back and you look like an infant, and it's hilarious, but it's beautiful how much you can grow in just a couple years. And there's still work to be done always.
And I think with journalism, it really is about what you make it. You kind of have to step into it or dive into it.
Yeah.
And just make your opportunities.
Yeah, definitely. I was speaking with a mentor the other day, and she said, you know what? Sometimes you have to pick up the pig crap. Mm-hmm. And I said, what does that mean? And she told me that she was actually an EP in Florida. And she said that they had pet of the week every week. And there was one week where they brought in a pet pig. Mm-hmm. And the pig pooped on the floor. So, you know, who's going to pick it up? And she said that she did. And everyone was like, why are you doing that? Yeah. And she says, that's journalism. Sometimes you have to pick up the pig poop, you know, someone's going to do it. So as long as you have a healthy ego and can realize that there's always going to be somebody picking up the pig poop, and sometimes it's going to be you, right. I think that'll benefit anyone right out of school.
That's a great story.
Yeah, I was obsessed.
Sometimes you just got to do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what do you say are maybe some issues within the journalism digital media field that students should be aware of these days?
So I'm sure anyone who watches national news, especially throughout the last few years, has seen a shift in objectivity. Mm-hmm. So just ensuring that people are being held accountable and that we're being fair and balanced is definitely the most important thing. And it saddens me and a lot of other journalists to see that not being the case. And I hope that that changes soon. But I think that starts with just conversations at the base level, even in those local newsrooms, and making sure that everybody remembers their core values, which Megan always talks about, and your purpose every day and why you're there, why you wake up in the morning, why you chose that major, you know, why you put in all the work to get to where you are. There's reasons for that. And if you can just remember that and be mindful and make sure that you are doing what you promised to do at one point, I think the journalism world would just be a much brighter place. Yeah.
Yeah, journalism has always had kind of an up and down, rocky past. But in the end, it is the fourth estate, and we're there to serve the people. Yeah. So, you know, there's a certain commitment for that, as I call it, for the love of the game, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because you love doing that.
Just, you know, putting the thought into it every day. Like, my objective every day when I wake up is I want to uplift, because I'm a morning anchor, so that's starting off people's days. I want to alert and protect, so warning people of those dangerous situations. You know, if there's a shooting, I want people to know that there could be dangerous situations there. If there's a fire, I want to know how, like, I want to teach people how they can prevent that and how that happened, that sort of thing. But then you always end with a kicker. You always end with something that will hopefully bring a smile to people's faces. So that's what I like, is there are sad stories, but, you know, being aware of those and being able to tell them delicately is the most important role in the job.
I like the way you put that, tell them delicately. That's you know, learning to write and wisdom in the writing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, and everything these days is about the story. It's all storytelling. No matter what you're doing, if you're, you know, in the business area, if you're marketing, if you're, no matter where you are, it's about the story. Yeah.
Whether someone's in court, whether there's a fire, whether there's a shooting, you have to remember, like, these are people's lives. Like, no matter who it is, if they're the victim or the suspect, like, their families are watching. I just always imagine a mother in her living room watching, and I'm like, would she think that this journalism is objective and fair? So just keeping in mind that it's not just a script. This is people's lives, and also the way they come across when you look them up online, because this is a digital world now too. So that sticks around. It's not just a newscast. That's there forever.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, that's just a great point about objectivity. Some of the exercise I've been doing lately is having students watch like the nightly news on ABC or NBC or CBS, because they're very straightforward. They're just the news. Yeah. And that's the heart of it. That's what we want to be. It's just telling the facts as closely as we can. Everybody has a perspective, and nobody's going to be a computer spitting out facts, but you know, we are there to tell a story and help people connect And, you know, I think when people, what I call, come up for air and watch just those straight newscasts, then you realize what journalism is really supposed to be.
Yeah.
And what it's about.
And people really respond to that too, and they notice, you know. Sometimes you're in a studio, in a newsroom studio, and it feels like it's just you and you're just doing your monotonous job, but people are watching, and it is a really big responsibility.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, some fun stuff. What do you miss about campus?
I miss how, I have to say, I liked how quiet it is when you walk from class to class. There's just like I don't know if it's the trees or what it is, but there's just like a peaceful nature when it comes to it. I really miss like my routines. I saw they redid George House. I need to check that out. But like going to George House every day and seeing the same people, I think in the adult world, it's difficult to find that same routine and structure, because even when it comes to like staying healthy and working out, I don't have practice at the same time every day. So I have to hold myself accountable to be able to do those things and create those non-negotiables.
Yes, Heidi was a runner here for.
Yeah, I did cross country. Yeah.
She was an Oiler running for cross country.
Yep.
Is there anything else? Is there just like a story that sticks in your mind from when you were here at the university?
I think the one that I was the most protective of was when Professor Hofer passed away.
Oh, yeah.
And I only got to use, the 3 interviews, but I probably did 10 because so many people wanted to talk about her when I put out the request. Because you know how it is. You ask 20 people and 2 respond to you. So, but that one, everyone wanted to talk about how great she was. And I had her in class the semester before she passed. So that was just very close to my heart. And I think a lot of people, especially in the newspaper business, they make jokes about like being an obituary writer. But when you do get to tell the story about somebody's lives and how they touched so many lives, that's just a really beautiful thing. Heartbreaking, but beautiful.
Right. Back in the old days, the obituaries was where you started, but it is a lot of professionals will tell you that that's where you really find the stories, and that's where it's important to tell somebody's story. Yeah, she was very well respected here.
She was, great person.
Yeah.
Big sense of humor.
So, what do you think people don't know about the University of Findlay's communication program?
I think, again, just to touch on the small school thing, how many opportunities there are with the staff and the students that we have. I can't think of anything I didn't have the opportunity to do, like friends at Ohio State had. If anything, I had more opportunity because there was more room to squeeze into those roles. I didn't have to try out for UFTV. I could just join with open arms, and everyone was happy to have me, and same with the newer people that joined as well. So just having that openness and friendships with your professors, and I graduated a few years ago, but we're sitting here talking, so just creating and maintaining those relationships is huge.
Okay, great. Well, I really appreciate you taking time out to come talk to us.
Of course.
Before the big storm hits.
Yep, right down the highway, so I'm happy to come anytime.
For more information about the communication department here at the University of Findlay, you can log on to findlay.edu/communication. Thanks, Heidi.
Thanks, Amy.